Witches have long been a source of fascinating, and they are far from the stereotypes of pointy hats and broomsticks. In the history of mankind, few beliefs have caused as much fear and fascinating as the belief in witches. But where did this belief come from? Our story begins in ancient civilizations, where natural phenomena were often attributed to supernatural forces. The concept of magic and sorcery found its roots in these early societies, where shamans and healers were both revered and feared. In ancient Egypt, sorcerers were punished if they harmed anyone. Also, with the old Roman, sorcery was punished with the death after the so-called 12 Table Law. Witches and sorcerers also appear in the Old and New Testaments. We fast forward to medieval Europe, which existed from about 500 to 1500 AD. It was a time of superstition and ignorance. In the midst of plagues and political unrest, the fear of witches grew. The Church played an important role in creating this fear by labeling certain practices heretical and associating them with witchcraft. However, witch hunts were also often repeated practices in times of crisis. In Central Europe, witch burnings increased during the 30 Years' War, which lasted from 1618 to 1648. Guilty parties were also sought in time of great famine. Frequently, smaller uprisings developed into large popular movements, often against the will of the churches and the authorities. The infamous witch trials of the Middle Ages further fueled this belief. Thousands of people, mostly women, were accused of witchcraft and endured cruel trials and executions, adding to the terror. In America, this terror culminated in the infamous Salem witch trials in 1692. Several children accused women in their community of torturing them and behaving strangely. The judges took the children's allegations seriously, further fueling mass hysteria. Many men and women were tortured and executed. Many witch hunts around the world were usually results of several social changes and conditions, such as food shortages, wars, and epidemics. Often these changes occurred in combination. People tried to interpret and understand what was happening. Unfortunately, they only kept blaming innocent people for the situation. With the Age of Enlightenment came a change in human thinking. Science and reason began to challenge traditional beliefs. However, the fear of witches remained, albeit in a different form. Witches became figures of folklore, appearing in stories and fairy tales and shaping the popular imagination. In modern times, the belief in witches changed once again. Wiccan and modern witchcraft movements emerged that empathize nature, spirituality, and healing. It is a new religious movement developed between 1921 and 1950. Traditional Wiccan followers join together to form a convent or a coven. Mostly, each coven has its own structures and beliefs. There are also different styles within these covens. Some styles are Egyptian, Celtic, or Native American. Each coven has a high priestess and a high priest. In addition, each coven ideally consists of 13 people. Wiccans follow a nature-based religion that honors the elements, the seasons, and a goddess or god. Although this belief is far removed from medieval hysteria, it reflects an enduring fascination with the mystical and magical. The belief in witches has evolved over the centuries, from ancient rituals to medieval trials and from folklore to modern spirituality. While the fear that once dominated societies has subsided, the fascination with witches still endures, reminding us of humanity's eternal quest for the mystical and the unknown. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss an episode.